Namaste, my friends. Today is August 22nd. It's almost 7:30 in the morning. It's a beautiful summer morning. It is the perfect late August summer morning in Maryland, which is very distinctive. It has a distinctive sound. The insects, the birds. It's definitely overcast. We're gonna get some rain today, and it's humid. Nice and warm, not sweltering. I think it's already about, 73, 74, maybe 74 at this point. And humid, but really a beautiful morning to be out. I didn't get to do any vlogging this weekend. I usually like to do it on Saturday. I had my daughter visiting from out of state, her and my 2 grandbabies. And we had a very good weekend. I can't complain. We looked at some houses. The housing market stinks right now. We're still looking, but some life updates. And again, a couple of the vlogs I've talked about. One, I want to talk about a couple of different things that I've talked about. One is time management. 2 is ranting. And 3 is emotional investment. So I'm going to address time management first. I'm failing miserably at time management. The only thing I have going for myself as far as time management is that I get up at the same time every day and I go to bed relatively the same time every day. I am giving myself ample time in bed, and I am working, as I think you know, I am working overtime, at least for probably another month. So, a lot of work hours. But, so my basic time management has been centered around, getting up, going to bed, and going to work. So all of those are consistent, non-variables. Hi. And so that in one hand is working. But as far as allotting my non-work time, I'm all over the place. I want to say that I have a good excuse because we've had a lot of family events. We've had my second daughter's birthday this month, my first daughter's birthday, my ex-husband's birthday, but there's a big end of summer birthday party for him that I was invited to. And 2 of these events thus far have required either me going out of town or somebody staying at my home. So that has definitely rocked my schedule. But that's no excuse, And the whole key is consistency, and I have to create a schedule where I can be somewhat consistent, because I have a period in spring, April through May, constant family birthdays, and in August to early September, again, constant family birthdays. And now I've got 2 birthdays coming up, 2 of my grandchildren, late November, early December. So it seems like my life is always being still dictated by children's and grandchildren's birthday celebrations. And this is something I have to deal with. As a mother, as being in this 3rd stage of my life, my raising children years are over. I devoted a lot of time to raising children. And now that they're grown, I should be devoting a lot of time to just creating my future and living in the moment and enjoying it while I can. And honestly, part of my living in the moment really is enjoying my children and grandchildren. I've often said, as a mother who gave up a decent job that I went to college for, a very lucrative job, I gave that job up to raise children after my daughter was born, my first daughter was born. And devoting, instead of my time to a career, I devoted it to raising a family. And in some ways, this is the just amazing phenomenal payoff of that is that I have a very tight-knit family. I have 4 children and their significant others. I currently have 5 grandchildren and 1 is due in January. And this is just reaping the fruits of my labor. That was my legacy. I think if I've done something in my life, it hasn't been a career or some great finding, some discovery or great contribution. It has been the contribution of bringing 4 amazing humans into the world and watching my family grow. And I am grateful. And like I said, this is something that I've wanted to enjoy. And, you know, the sad thing is I'm no longer married to their father. I shouldn't say sad thing is. Obviously, the marriage didn't work out. Oh, my God. However, you know, it does make it a little harder. And I'm grateful that my current husband is so good with understanding my having my children and the closeness that we have and the grandchildren. And he's very, very good with them. Very good with the grandchildren. Very good with my kids. Obviously, I wouldn't have married him otherwise. You know, he also had raised 3 children. And so he understands. However, his children, 1 is estranged and 2 literally live on the opposite coast. So we don't interact with him often. I feel sad for him, but he seems happy, you know, enough with the situation. And I always find it interesting that I've often said, and I love my husband, I could have never raised children with him. His ideas of raising children and mine are very different. I mean, even yesterday we had a conversation about how to handle tantrums. I have a 3-year-old granddaughter who lit into a doozy yesterday over a chocolate donut. And his take on it. And this was not a discussion we had around the child or the child's mother. Thank goodness. Child's mother being my daughter. But we were both just discussing how we handle these things and did in the past. And I could have never married him and raised children. We are fantastic companions right now at this point in our life, but we definitely have very different views on child rearing, and that's okay, because we're not rearing children together. So, yeah, so back to the time management again. I can't even keep on track for time management during a conversation. Yeah, I have to work on that because I'm not doing a lot of the things that I enjoy. One of those things is my vlogging, the other of which is writing. I have spent every spare moment house hunting and scrolling through Zillow feeds, and you know, and we did attend open houses this weekend, and all I can say is that it's a nightmare. And I'm thinking maybe, I don't know, maybe we should just pull back for a while. I think we've both been investing some time and energy and money into upkeeping rentals. My husband, he's got 2, and both of them have been a hot mess this summer, so he's been working on that. And my one little rental that my son lives in, I have a garden there that I've carved out, a lovely little place, and I still maintain the garden. So this weekend I had to go over and do some heavy lifting in the garden as the seasons are beginning to change. And because I'm not there all the time, I can't maintain it like it should be maintained. A perennial garden, as beautiful and wonderful as it is, it still requires maintenance. So I did do that, and took over air filters for the HVAC. And so I'm just consumed with some of that. So time management, still working on it. Okay, ranting. I'm doing pretty good. I'm not really ranting anymore. I've really made a conscious effort to stop. It just wasn't doing any good for me. And I still feel positive. I'm not ranting. Not saying I haven't complained or commented, but I'm not ranting. So I think that's helping my emotional state, particularly as we go through the crazy with the housing market as it is and other issues in life. So I'm not doing that. And third, emotional investment. struggling a little bit. Although I do have to say, I give myself a good A- maybe, on losing the last house that we wanted, that I mentioned. The one that was that we found out after getting in the process was actually a bankruptcy and foreclosure, and just the devil was in the details of dealing with the bankruptcy lawyer and the foreclosure proceedings, and it just got to be to the point where we just said no. They weren't willing to give on anything that we felt that we needed. The main thing of which was using the title company. We did not want to use the title company that they were insistent upon. And I feel pretty good that we stuck by that. I don't know if it was right or not, but it was something that we both felt was important, because when somebody wants you to put down $15,000 of good faith money and put it in escrow with their title company, that's a hard no. That's not in our league. That's not in our wheelhouse. We're not going to do that. So yeah, we had to let that go, and I was in love with that house. I was still in love with that house. I mean, it was a classic, beautiful brick home. I mean, with a sunroom and real shutters and just this incredible outdoor space. Okay, I'm over it. So yeah, I had to let that go. And I didn't fall apart over it. And I said, we'll find something better. It wasn't it was a great location on some ways, but you could hear the Beltway. And frankly, I am damn sick of hearing the Beltway. I'm damn sick of Jake breaks in the middle of the night and crotch rockets zooming by. And I love to sleep with my window open, and I can't. When you live near the Beltway, you can't. And there is also the concern, it must be bad air quality. Ugh. So I want to get away from that. I definitely need to get away from that. So that was one concession I was thinking I was willing to make to get that house. So I'm glad I didn't make that concession. We looked at a couple places yesterday. Again, last night I felt very disappointed and defeated. It's just the garbage on the market. People doing fluff and buff and trying to, make a silk purse out of a sow's ear, and let's throw a fresh coat of paint on it and maybe they won't notice this, that, and the other. And it's pretty bad. And they want to charge top dollar when you know damn well you got to go in and, spend, tens of thousands of dollars just to bring it up to where you think it should be. So it was a fail on all the open houses yesterday. But I didn't get too emotionally invested. So I feel good about that. So I'm doing good today. Yesterday I was feeling pretty beat up, a little emotional after the open house fails and several of the places we saw, and a little beat up because my daughter, like I said, her husband was away on a fishing trip and she didn't want to stay home alone up in Pennsylvania. So her and the kids came down and stayed with me, and so she left yesterday, and that always makes me sad. It makes me sad. It makes me sad because, well, one, I miss the hell out of her and the kids, but two, she is pregnant. She has a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. And the 3-year-old one has some very intense, she has an intense personality. And the issue is that she is very large for a 3-year-old. I mean, you would look at her and probably think she's 5. And she's adorable and sweet and smart and wonderful. But when she throws a fit, my daughter, who's pregnant, just can't pick her up and carry her into another room. When she plants herself down in defiance, she just is she's almost too heavy for me to pick up and move. But my daughter should not be picking, the doctor told her not to be picking up, that much weight, and certainly not be picking up her, 3-year-old toddler in a tantrum. So I know yesterday during the tantrum that I was talking about, she bent down and picked her up and took her up the stairs to the bedroom to have a conversation with her. And I was like, God, you can't do that. You can't be picking her up like that. And my daughter's struggling and she's alone up there. They're moving back here in October. And I know everything will be okay, but I was a little down when they left. So I had a little bit of a down evening. And then, of course, all weekend I ate sugar and decided to have more sugar on top of it. We had donuts for breakfast. And then, which was the actual source of the toddler tantrum. Then we went to Starbucks and I had a Frappuccino. What the heck was I thinking? I'm powering my body by sugar all day. And I said, okay, I gotta eat. So I came back home and ate. Was cleaning out the refrigerator of leftovers, which of course I made stuff like mac and cheese and sloppy joes and everything. No, I inhaled all of that as well. So, I just ate cheesy noodles and sugary stuff. And then of course, after I ate the mac and cheese, I had to follow it up with some ice cream. But, I don't eat like that every day, but it didn't make me feel real good last night. So I took a hot bath and went to bed. And yeah, so I'm improving. So I want to hear stories. I always seek out stories of those little wins that we have. At this stage in life, we're getting little wins. I mean, there's nothing big that's going to happen and just suddenly, be the big winner and no big things. But it's those little things, to be able to not become emotionally invested in trying to buy a house that you're going to live in for the next 20 plus years, when you're 58. It is sad because you don't want to make a mistake now. I don't have another move in me. I figure I'm going to move in this house. I'll have one more move. And that last move is going to happen if and only if I become widowed and I'm in my 90s and I can't live by myself in whatever house we're in. Then I have to move back to my one level condo. But that's the only move I have left in me after this one. So wherever we go, I'm going to stay. I just can't do any more moves. I'm exhausted. So I need to hear little wins, folks. Little wins. What are your wins for the day? Whatever they may be. If it's a win, I'm happy for you. Thank you so much for listening to me and my craziness. They're going to start some landscaping to the right of me, so I got to go. Peace.